Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 19th. This week, you have this family and heritage card. It says it's time to get back in touch with your loved ones that you have been away from. You have this Pisces card. It says boundaries. It says set and honor your boundaries to avoid being taken advantage of. A lot of people have had cards of boundaries this week, which is kind of weird. So, I don't know if there's something going on that's making people need to kind of put up appropriate boundaries with people or just situations in general. I feel like for the past couple weeks, Aquarius, you've had something about like boundaries at work and probably to avoid being taken advantage of. So, this could be kind of like a little bit of a theme that's going on for you right now. And it's, definitely something I would pay attention to. You have the Strength card, the Hangman, and the Ace of Swords. The Strength card, of course, can represent patience, strength. It can represent inner strength as well. You have this Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is kind of like your inner truth. Sometimes I think with the Strength card, we have to have the strength to kind of speak our own personal truth, which, I think this is something that has come up for you a couple of times in readings. And you even have the Judgment card here as well, which is kind of like a card of answering the call to your purpose. So, there's like a lot of kind of powerful stuff going on here for you. Now, one thing I will say is that 2 days ago now, I'm going to publish this video on the 15th, but on the 12th, we had that full moon in Scorpio, which was definitely a little bit challenging. And it definitely could be, it was kind of like a weird moon because I didn't feel it until last night. I didn't sleep at all last night because of that full moon, even though last night was, basically 2 days after, or, a day after the full moon. But, I would say here that the Scorpio full moon is all about kind of something about revealing your inner truth, like being honest with yourself. That's kind of like part of it. And so I feel a lot of you could need to have the strength to be honest with yourself. It kind of looks like work to me here. There could be something that you have to be honest about with work, or a change you want to make with work. And I feel doing that will probably set you free because you have the Hangman here. The Hangman is kind of like stuck in Hangman mode, and he's hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom. I always say that sometimes we can feel delayed with the Hangman, but it's not necessarily a bad delay because, again, he had to learn something over the period of time that he feels like his life was delayed. He's sacrificing the use of his arms and his legs on this card so that he can gain enlightenment. His head is glowing here. But again, it's something that took time. And really, like I said, the good news about this reading is your last row. You have, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Six of Swords, Chariot, and the Knight of Wands. I mean, those are all three of those cards are cards of moving forward or making progress or, kind of moving on to the other side. So, this could be a very good week for you, actually, where you are setting yourself free. You have the Ace of Swords. Like I said, the truth will set you free, of course, with the Ace of Swords. So, telling yourself the truth is, that's the person that you are telling the truth to. It really is you, just yourself. And so you could be telling yourself the truth about, things that you want to do in your life, or you could be telling yourself the truth that you don't want to do your job anymore and you want something different. The list goes on and on there. But with the Ace of Swords, we usually have to sacrifice one thing and so that we can have something better. This palm frond represents a sacrifice, and we have the olive branch, which can represent an offer of peace, but can also represent abundance. I feel like you maybe cutting something out that no longer serves you could be bringing you both things, peace and abundance. So I don't be afraid of kind of admitting some sort of truth is what I would say. You also, Ace of Swords and the Chariot are both cards of a victory. So if you're hoping to have some sort of big win or victory, that is definitely possible. With the Strength card, you have the Five of Cups. You have the Five of Cups twice, here and here. And the Five of Cups can represent regrets or sadness. I kind of feel like this is something that you feel like you missed out on, but you didn't. He needs to turn around and be grateful for these two cups. Then he gets this bridge in the castle. He's also doing something he doesn't want to do anymore. The story of the card is that this wine is spilt in front of him, and he doesn't enjoy the wine any longer. But that's what I feel for you, Aquarius. Like, if you are walking away from something or admitting the truth to yourself about something, it's probably admitting the truth about something you don't even want to be doing anyway, anymore, right? With the Hangman, you have the Six of Cups. It's like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people feel this way, really, is what I would say as well, that, I think a lot of people wish things were the way they used to be. It's like you could be thinking about a simpler time. Here is really the message I'm getting off of this card. It's like, it's not giving me traditional Six of Cups energy. It's more just saying to me that there are like certain things where you're like, I wish I could still do things this way or that way, or, I wish things were back to when they were more simple in life. And you could just be thinking about that with that card. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, this is about your emotions overflowing. It also seems to be an emotional week as well. A lot of people have had these very emotional cards, but the Ace of Cups is about following your positive emotions, following those good emotions so that you can get something that you actually desire. And so I would be, tapping into those your positive emotions so that you can get something you want in life. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Winds of Change card. It says your surroundings will undergo a transformation or transition. You have this Earth card. It says utilize logic, reason, and common sense. Yeah, I feel like I said this to you in your last reading as well, that the other thing that's popping into my head with that Earth card is to just keep things simple. If you're coming up with crazy complex solutions to problems, or trying to solve things with crazy complex solutions, I feel this is saying don't overcomplicate things with that energy. Definitely a change coming in for you. I mean, Judgment, Chariot, Six of Swords, these are all cards of change. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have the Queen of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Cups. Queen of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, going for what you want. Now, you have the Five of Pentacles and Five of Cups. Those two cards together would kind of represent a lack of fulfillment. The Queen of Wands has this sunflower right here, which points towards the sun. So she needs to move towards happiness to find fulfillment. And I feel a lot of you, this is I kind of feel like the Queen of Wands is the solution to those two fives there. Personally, I don't mind fives in readings because they have very easy solutions. So, to me, fives aren't really that big of a deal, even though you could be feeling emotional about it for sure. Again, I think this is something that you will easily be able to overcome with the Queen of Wands energy. But I kind of feel this is saying you need to do more things that you desire. And we even go down to the Judgment card. These people are being called up out of their old life by their higher self. This is your higher self angel, and they're being called into a new life. So it's almost like you are being called into something greater. This last row would be a greater life, or something that's like a bigger improvement, and that's what I feel that you need to step into. You have the Five of Pentacles. I feel like this is like all the reasons you think you can't do something with the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. The Five of Pentacles wants us to focus on our strengths. And, that is the simple solution to the Five of Pentacles. And you have the Strength card there as well. With the Five of Pentacles, there could be a lot of reasons that we think we can't do something. But if there's just even one good reason why we should, then we should do it with this card. The other thing is that they have this church behind them here. And so the church on the Five of Pentacles represents a place of sanctuary, and it can represent like asking for help, finding guidance, finding a person who can guide you towards security or whatever it is you're looking for. So I think it would be a great time to ask important people in your life for help. You have the Five of Cups, which you have twice here. Again, I really just feel this is you thinking about walking away from something that you no longer enjoy. Could be your job, could be a project, could be something you're working on. Again, I think that sometimes I think that readings like this are kind of funny. Maybe it's not funny for you, Aquarius, but I think it's funny because I think this is something that you are going to do anyway. It's like, it's one of those things where if you're thinking about it, you're probably going to do it anyway, whether you do it now or 6 months from now. And, sometimes I give that advice. And I don't really know if it's helpful or not. But at the same time, again, I think that really, if you're thinking about walking away from something, this is basically saying don't wait. There's something bigger and better coming in for you, and that's what you should really be focusing on. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is about equal give and take, of course, and it can represent just kind of like trying a little bit. So if you feel guided in a new direction, which clearly you do, going this way, and even this way as well, then the Six of Pentacles says, like, take the first small step to step into that energy and see what happens. The other thing that I've been getting for you for a couple weeks, Aquarius, is I feel like you need to be careful of something that's like trying to overshadow you, or I don't know. It's almost like you're not getting the credit you deserve. Maybe some of you don't realize that as well. It's like the story that's popping into my head is like, imagine if you were doing your boss's job for them and they were getting all the credit. It's like I don't think this is true for all of you, but I definitely feel for some of you that you could be in a situation where it's like someone else is getting the credit for what you're doing. And I feel that the readings have been saying you have an opportunity to fix that or change it. So, I would be changing it. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Definitely makes things better. Eight of Pentacles would be a good focus to fix the Five of Pentacles, because the Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. He is focusing on what he can do. He's not focusing on the weaknesses. He's just working on something that he is trying to master. And the Eight of Pentacles also represents material success on the horizon. So with the Judgment card coming up after, some of you really could be improving your finances this week, especially if you've been doing work to do so. The Eight of Pentacles is not magic. The Eight of Pentacles is work that you've already done. So if you've been doing things to improve your finances, then, definitely could be financial improvements. With the Five of Cups, you have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, you are not missing out, is what I want to say. It's like some of you, I feel, if you are in this weird situation that you need to leave, and it feels like work to me, or business, I feel like you need to realize that you're not, it's like you're not going to be missing out on something. I don't know. Sometimes I get messages that I just don't know what to say, Aquarius, because it's like that's the message that I'm getting, is that you're not going to be missing out. It's like you might be limiting yourself by staying in a situation that's kind of limiting you. And I feel like this is saying you are not missing out by walking away from whatever this is. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have the Spider Spirit. It says, make your dreams real. You have this Nightingale Spirit. It says, love is all around. So definitely a good energy of love in this reading. I'm not talking about a person either. There could be, but I think this reading is more talking about you. I think it's talking about you following your heart. The Nightingale in I have another deck, the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle, and in that deck, the Nightingale is like it's just a tiny little bird sitting on this big ass egg, right? And it kind of represents the fact that you can do more than you think, or it's like you're much more capable than you realize, and I feel that with this Nightingale as well. The Spider is about coming up with a process. We're definitely in a very nerdy time. Like, the universe is wearing a pocket protector right now. The universe probably is carrying around a calculator as well. And the universe plays Dungeons and Dragons right now as well. And so I think we are in a time of process. We have a lot of practical energy. We've had a lot of practical energy as well. We have Pluto and Aquarius, which is kind of practical in some ways. And so I think that for us as humans here on Earth, if you're a human and watching this, I know some dogs watch me, so I have to clarify. What I would say is anything that you're trying to accomplish, I would be coming up with some sort of process for like what you're doing. This could be as simple as like researching a plan. Like, let's say you're building a business. It's like, I'm sure there's a million plans that you could follow that exist. Same thing with everything else in your life. Really, I don't think it has to be anything spectacular. I think you just have to have a plan and stick to it. You have the Emperor, the Judgment card, and the Hermit. Yeah, for weeks you've been getting these energies of like you really bossing up. So I feel a lot of you could really be bossing up at this time, or you could be kind of taking the lead in your life, which would be great. The Emperor is also about kind of taking control of your situation. He is kind of sitting here and he has his armor on underneath his cloak. So when an opportunity presents itself, he takes it. And I feel that it would be a great time for you, like any opportunities that you have to kind of like jump on those opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities with the Emperor. I feel it'll be very helpful. But definitely like kind of taking the lead energy on this card. You have the Judgment card. You're being called to something greater. These people are standing in their coffins. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. And so they're being called to step into their new life or into something new, which makes a lot of sense. I also think that, you have to remember Pluto is retrograde again right now. And so, that could be why these fives and stuff are showing up, is because you are kind of revisiting something, especially since Pluto is in your sign. Pluto is very transformative when it is in our own sign. And, the Judgment card is kind of a transformation. They are transforming into their new life, or they're having to undergo a transformation to step into their new life. And I feel that's what a lot of you could be doing here, Aquarius. You have the Hermit. I actually feel pretty good about the Hermit. It might be a good week for you to stay in Hermit mode or to be in Hermit mode. One thing I will say is that next week, I think, on the 26th, I don't know what day that is, but the 26th, we have the new moon, and that new moon is really good. I think people will be feeling really, really good after the new moon, even, before. Moons, we can feel them 5 days before and 5 days after. So a lot of you could be starting to feel a lot better as we move through the week and get closer to the end of the week. But I also feel like if you need to be in Hermit mode, if you need to find your inner light or take time to do that, I feel this is encouraging you to do that. But at the same time, the Hermit kind of says you've already completed that journey of searching for your inner light or going through the dark night of the soul. And now you're kind of ready to shine. So I kind of feel that for you. I'm not ready to say that because, if we get like the sun, the star, and things like that, you have two cards here. One fell into my lap. But, again, if we got like the sun and the star, then that would definitely say it's time for you to shine. You have the Wheel of Fortune and the Eight of Cups. That Eight of Cups kind of fell into my lap. Eight of Cups makes sense because it's walking away from things that no longer serve you. The Wheel of Fortune, you show up in the top corner here, right here on this card, so that's Aquarius. Whenever you show up as yourself, puts you in a position of power and strength. But this is a card of a turnaround, and so a lot of you do, Six of Cups, Judgment, Six of Swords. These are kind of like breakthrough energies, and a little bit, not really, but kind of. And so a lot of you are kind of changing your fortunes on your own, but you're taking the lead with the Emperor. You are being the boss with this energy, and I think that's really important for you here, Aquarius. With the Judgment card, you have the Hangman. If you have been waiting for answers on anything, or if you've been looking for answers, you definitely could be getting answers. He's been, again, hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom. He's hoping to gain enlightenment. His head is glowing on this card, and he is gaining enlightenment. So a lot of you could be gaining enlightenment in your life, or you could be getting answers that you've been waiting for. And I think that will be a good thing for you here, Aquarius. I would make your move now. It's like now that you have the answers, it's time to get moving. With the Hermit, you have the Ten of Swords. Yes, again, very simple, straightforward reading. It's saying that something is dead, done, over with, and it's time to move on to something bigger and better, or time to move on to calmer shores with the Six of Swords. He's making this symbol right here with his hand, and that symbol kind of represents a blessing. It's the same symbol the Hierophant is making on his card, so a lot of you could be experiencing a blessing by, walking away from things that no longer serve you with the Ten of Swords. The other thing I feel with this Ten of Swords is that, I feel like, if you are leaving something, I'm pretty sure I said this to you in your last reading, but if you're afraid that people are going to be upset that you leave a job, or, if your boss is going to be upset or whatever, or, if you're working with a group of people and you're walking away, it's like, yeah, they are. They are going to be upset, but at the same time, it's your life, Aquarius. You have to be the one that is calling the shots. The Emperor is really saying that to me in your reading. And so sometimes it's like, yeah, sometimes we do have to hurt other people's feelings, even though it sucks. And even though we might feel bad, it's still what's right for us. And that's kind of the energy I get on that Ten of Swords. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Celebration card and this Take a Risk card. So, definitely time to take a risk. I feel like you will be celebrating this. I feel like you'll feel a lot more free in, if you are kind of moving on to calmer shores or walking away from something. You have the Six of Swords, the Chariot, and the Knight of Wands. This is definitely a decision that has taken time to make. We've been talking about it for a few weeks, maybe. And, sometimes I do think decisions take a while for us to make. But it looks to me like you are finally calling the shots, or you're finally making a decision to move on to calmer shores. And for some of you, I always say Six of Swords is kind of my card of going back to the drawing board. It's not really like we're starting over, but sometimes we can be just going back to the drawing board, coming up with a better plan, or like I said, with the spider spirit, coming up with a better process of how we can be successful with whatever it is that we're trying to be successful with. I feel like all that would be really good for you. You have the Chariot. The Chariot is a victory, or taking the lead, taking charge. It's a card that says where there's a will, there's a way. So we really have to take control of the reins with the Chariot. The Chariot is a card of hard control in the tarot, meaning we really have to be the one to really take control and drive that chariot and bring it in the direction that we want to move in. But it is coming up in the good stuff. So, in the good stuff, he has these stars right here and these moons right here, and it represents as above, so below. So he is in alignment with what he wants. And so he is getting what he wants because he is in alignment with what he wants. A lot of you could also be moving as well. You have a lot of cards here that could represent like moving or traveling somewhere. So if you're doing that, that looks good. You have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is charging forward in a direction, and especially in the good stuff, he is kind of like enthusiastically charging forward in the right direction in the good stuff. So if you have like a goal or something you want to accomplish or something you want to achieve, you could really be, kind of setting off on this journey to achieve a lot this week, and I feel that would be very good. With the Six of Swords, you have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, card of expansion and growth and getting on these boats, right? I don't know. Like I said, very simple reading. All the cards, it is nice when a reading like really paints a picture that's like one thing because that basically says you have like one thing to work on this week, and it could be you getting on these boats, going on an adventure, moving in a new direction, moving on to calmer shores, all those things. So you really could be expanding because of that. With the Chariot, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yes, like leaving a comfort zone. You could be, with the Hermit here, you could be realizing like what the comfort zones are for you. Like you could be seeing what things have been you basically in a comfort zone or kind of keeping yourself stuck. Again, he's holding on to a limiting situation. He's holding on too tightly to what he has, and because he's holding on so tightly, he can't get what he truly deserves. And once we release with the Four of Pentacles, then, we get what we deserve. This is also amazing. Yeah, in the good stuff, though, the Four of Pentacles is very good for finances. It can kind of represent you stabilizing your finances or doing things to stabilize your finances. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Empress. Yes, you have both energies here. If you do want love, there is an Emperor and Empress here, so divine counterparts. I think that when these two show up together in a reading, it really kind of says you are balancing your masculine and your feminine energies inside of yourself. So a lot of you could be kind of just balancing your creative side with your action-taking side. You have this well, it says family wishes come true. Definitely could be some sort of wish. Six of Cups is a very good card for like socializing, being with family, being with people you care about. So if you are spending time with family, this could be very good. The other thing I just noticed, Aquarius, is you have 2 6s here. 2 6s to me, I love 2 6s. To me, 2 6s says you're on the right path. You're going in the right direction. You have this money path card. It says a path with money is waiting for you to find it. We're talking about money with the Eight of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. So there definitely could be a change in your finances. I think a lot of this has to do with like you believing in yourself, though. Again, if you're putting yourself in limiting situations, then the money's not going to show up. This is about you bossing up and like claiming the money that you deserve. And then if you do that, you will get it. You have this May card and you have this Man card. It says dealings or relationships with a man. So if you're looking for a man out there, then definitely the month of May could be bringing you a man. This could also be something you like, a person you work with. So if you work with a man, this could be you kind of like walking away from a situation with a person. Maybe they look like this, I don't know, but definitely could happen. You have this success card, which is great. Again, it's not really, it seems like a bad reading, but it's not, it really isn't. I mean, really it's not. There aren't really any, bad cards here, but, like I said, I think you are being led towards success. And finally, you have the shield card. It says you need to defend yourself. Yes, I think that this card should say you need to stick up for yourself. There's a truth inside of you with the Ace of Swords that's like trying to come out. And I feel this is saying if you're in situations where you can't live your truth, then you're, kind of like not sticking up for yourself. And so this is saying you need to stick up for, maybe really what it's saying is you need to stick up for your destiny, or with the Wheel of Fortune, or your vision for your life. And you need to kind of claim it by getting out of situations that are limiting you. But pretty straightforward stuff here, Aquarius, I gotta say. So looks good. Thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.